Hi, I'm Julia and this is my shed. So we're back on the Britannia left-hand valve gear again. So what I've got set up at the moment is the valve gear in full reverse gear. So we're right at the bottom of the slot. I think it's full reverse. It's either full reverse or full forward. Not exactly sure. But hopefully what you can see is that we should actually have a bolt about here. So this die block maybe if you want, for the crosshead is too far back. So I'm trying to ascertain really what the problem is in the valve gear. So we've got a couple of choices. What we could do is just extend the length of this slightly, because it's not going forward very much either, so we're sort of very much biased towards the rear of the valve crosshead. So we'd need to extend that by probably less than 5mm. So that's one option which I'm thinking about. We could probably just extend this particular rod, so save making a whole new rod. So that's one option. I'll just show you so you can see we're right at the bottom of the slot. The die's right at the bottom of the slot at the moment. So another option is to shorten this, lengthen this rod. If I move it to, I would say that's as far back possible as we can make it. So we'd need to make this rod again about 5mm longer. This is a bit more of a complex piece, but again we could just modify the end so we wouldn't have to do all of this job. And it does actually occur to me that if we rotate this part forwards a little bit, that might have the same effect. Now at the moment there is no adjustment built into this part, although Modelworks did do a modified version with a different pin as well. So at the moment this is held in place by these 4 bolts. So what I'm going to do is just take those out and just rotate it just to see what it looks like, see if that would actually fix the problem. Okay, with that adjusted, you can see now we've got a decent amount of clearance at this end. So let's just so we've still got quite a lot of space there at the forward edge, so we could actually move even more actually by the looks of it. Just looking at the rest of the valve gear and that seems okay. So well, let's move it to the furthest forward point. Okay. So that's really only about halfway, so that's not great. So it's possible we're not getting enough movement here. So I'll just try adjusting this a bit more and just see what happens. So the problem with that method is we're not actually getting very much valve movement at all now. It's about 8mm. So that's no good. So that's definitely not a solution. So we'll forget about that one. So one of the things I have had to do as well is put some packing between the bracket and the frame. I'm not sure if you can see that. I've put about 3 sheets of I think it's 1.5mm plate there, and basically so that this because the distance here, this was pushed in quite far backwards, So to get this rod in a straight line with this part, I've had to move the entire bracket outwards. You can see here that at the moment the way shaft, sorry, not weight shaft. Somebody told me I was calling it the wrong thing. For some reason or other with wool shirts, I can't remember every single part. There's just too many parts. But anyway, the way shaft, which is this, should be centralised on this cutout. And at the moment I've got it quite far back. So that is possibly why this is too far back. So what I'll do is I'll move it forwards, and I think then I had problems with other clearances, but it may be I need to fix those problems first and have the way shaft back in the normal position. Okay, so that's the way shaft pretty much in the middle of that slot, and I've tried to put it in about the same height from the frame, the bracket, so roughly level with this cutout here. So what I've found now is that this blocks further forward, which is great, but I've had to take this pin out because this won't go any further forwards. I think the reason is obviously as that comes forward, it's pulling, it's reducing this distance here, and it's fouling. So what I can do is take the fork out and drop its height down. I can easily take a millimetre off there, and that will give me a bit more clearance for this to go fully back. I don't need a lot, but I do need some. So probably it's going to give me that amount of distance if I take a mil off it. Okay, so I've machined some clearance in there. It's only meant to take a mil out, but I've actually done 1.75 mil on each side. I think there's still enough meat on that to still work. So we'll put that all back together and see how that goes. So hopefully you can see there's still a little bit of interference here. I just need to round the shoulder off a little bit here. So I will try and mark that where they're actually touching, and then I think I've probably just should have moved the milling cutter a bit further towards this end, but we're not far away now. Yeah, it's very close now, very close. Okay, so that fix has improved things at the crosshead end, but we've now hit another clearance issue. So this top corner here, you can see I've taken a bit off already. That's hitting the vertical lifting link. I've heard people say that there's actually a boss on the link here. I've heard people say you have to nearly completely remove that, and also shave quite a bit off this corner as well. So I think that's the next job. We'll have a go at doing that. So the lifting link is fouling. So what I've seen on other people that made the kit is they've completely shaved off this area. So I started to do it with the file, but actually what I want to do is make a neater job of it. I actually probably want to actually remove metal all the way along, basically until we're almost hitting this hole. So I've got it set up in the milling machine. It's not a great setup in terms of rigidity, but I think we'll make a neater job doing it this way. To be fair, you can't really see this face anyway because it's hidden, but it's better to do a nice job, and it's a bit more controlled then as well. Okay, so I took about 1 mil more off this. I'm just starting to break through into this hole, so I don't really want to go any further at this point. I mean, theoretically we could take a bit out of that hole. Don't really want to do that. So just to illustrate what's going on, so this is the lifting link. As this goes backwards and forwards, especially when it's in the lower position, it's hitting here. What I've done is I've marked a radius there which is 2 millimeters from this point, so we've still got 2 millimeters metal there. So I'll file this down again, so we've still got a minimum of 2 mil there. We'll take a little bit off this corner. I don't think we need much. I'm not actually sure it's touching, but I think just to give ourselves a bit of leeway, we'll try and do that. So hopefully that's clear. So you can see we've literally shaved off nearly all of that, but there's still, because this is so wide, there's quite a lot of meat there holding that lifting link in place. We are just talking about we need to just shave off millimeters now just to get the clearance we need. It's very, very tight. Okay, so I've got this point down to 2 mil here, and obviously we've shaved quite a lot off this, so that's hopefully given us a couple more mil of clearance there. So I'm not 100% sure if this is an actual problem at the moment, but I can't get the full travel on the versing screw because it's hitting on the bracket here. So I think I could easily take a couple of mil off this edge just to give us a bit more manoeuvre, just so we can get a bit more valve travel potentially if we need it. As I said, I'm not sure if we do need it, but I think I'll get the file out and just take a mil or two off that. And, there we go. So I'll try and get somewhere near, and then that gap and that gap are about the same, so we're not removing any structural strength there. Okay, so I've shaved a couple of mil off this area, so we're getting a lot closer to this side now. Still can't go as far as the other side, but I don't think we need to go right to the very ends anyway, so we'll give that a go. So I'm starting to get to the point where I'm fairly happy with the valve gear. I'm still a little bit tight here, so I know John Bagley shaved 0.75 of a mil off one side of this block, so that's an option at the moment. But what I wanted to do was just I'm just going to use this angled pick to see where the valve is in relation to this hole, which is the steam inlet. So at the moment the valve is fully forwards, so if I pop this in, I'm just making sure I'm on the ring rather than the nut, because the nut protrudes further out. You may not be able to see, but that's very nearly central there, so that's quite good. And if I go the other way, bring it all the way back, so it's fully backwards. I'll put this in to see where the leading edge of the valve is. it's pretty much in the same position. So I think the valve position on the valve rod is about right, which is a happy accident. I'm not sure how we managed to do that. So what you can see at the moment is we've got a bit of a gap here. Now I'm not 100% sure on how much travel I need along here to get the valves to fully work. So that's the next thing. I might actually have to put some compressed air in here and see what actually happens. Okay, so I've got the compressor fired up. We're just going to have a look, see what actually happens if we open up the valve. I think we're on about 25 psi. So yeah, let's see what happens. So I've been doing a bit of fiddling around, and if you notice, this is the rear. The cylinder's moving towards back dead centre, but it's quite a way before, and the valve was already opened, which is not good. So I think what that means is I need to move the valve forwards a bit so that it opens a little bit later. So I've got my valve adjusting tool here. I just need to undo the lock nut. So we'll do that, and we'll try and move the valve a bit further forwards, which means unscrewing it, I think. And we'll see if we can stop. If you can hear that now, there's air coming out of the cylinder drain, which is just out of view. Let me turn around slightly. So at the moment I'm getting air here, and I shouldn't really be getting that just yet. We need to be a bit closer to back dead centre. There's way too much lead. Okay, that's stopped it now. I did about one turn. Let's see where it opens now. I've run out of air. So hopefully you can see in there. So I've got I've used John Bagley's patented adjusting. So I've got a large tubular spanner to actually adjust it, and then I've got UBA spanner to tighten up the lock nut. So I've just done that, and I think I'm basically getting the valve events roughly equal now. So I can so I'm fairly happy with that. We're not really getting any power out because of various leakages, mainly because the valve bobbins are PTFE. So I'm not sure if we'll actually get it to run on air without replacing the valve bobbins, which I don't really want to do. I think they'll work fine with steam. So the other option would be to see if we can heat up the PTFE a bit. So put a hot air blower on this just to see if we can get some heat into the valve bobbins. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that now. So yeah, I think the next thing to do now is to finalise the position of the bracket, which just about see in the distance there. So at the moment the bracket's just held on with all these engineer's clamps. We need to put a spacer piece in, and then we need to drill holes through or mark holes through from the inside so that we can attach it properly. So I think that's probably the next thing. We need to make a packing piece and then do some drilling, and we'll see how that looks. I don't know if increasing the pressure will do anything, so I'll try that. I was just testing with 25 psi. Obviously the cylinder drains are open as well at the moment, so I'll increase the pressure and see if we can actually get it to move, but I don't think it will. It actually moves a little bit. Oh, that was that was almost moving under its own power. I think I'll see if I got some plugs to plug up the cylinder drains. So there's obviously a lot of friction, but that is trying to go. It's a little bit struggling a bit front dead centre, so we might not quite have the timing right. It is actually moving under its own power under some situations. So what you could hear is a lot of blow by, and I've tested these. The valve bobbins have PTFE heads, which are a loose fit when they're cold, so you're getting quite a bit of blow by straight into the exhaust. There's a little bit of blow by on the cylinder piston rings as well, sorry, the piston rings, but what I found was as it was coming around this, when the crank was moving around this sort of quadrant, it was wanting to go. So I think with both sides actually operating, we might actually get enough power for it to actually move under its own steam, as it were, without heating up these PTFE bobbins. They'll be fine with steam, but on air they're just not sealing very well. But I'll say nothing's binding up now. I'm quite pleased with the progress we've made. So I think the next thing really to do is to try and mount the bracket permanently. Try and get this bracket in place, and we can sort of tweak a few little bits, like maybe make this die block a bit narrower on one side or the other, just to get it to run properly. But yeah, that's really good actually. I'm really pleased. I was really worried I might need to make some new rods or whatever, but actually I think we can get away with it. So this video is getting quite long now, so I'll draw it to a close here. As you can see, we are making progress, but it's a little bit slow. But I hope you found that interesting. Please leave a comment if you've got any comments on how you go about doing this job. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.